You ever wonder what it really takes to build a nation? I'm not just talking about buildings and roads, but with things like integrity, with service. Well, we're about to dive into a life lived right at the very heart of modern Malaysia's story. This book, From As to Alg, it's so much more than a memoir. It's really a 46-year journey through the corridors of power told by someone who saw it all from the inside.
Just let that sentence sink in for a minute. When the scandals are huge and the people involved are incredibly powerful, there's no textbook that can tell you what to do. I mean, can you imagine being the person responsible for the entire nation's accounts, where your integrity isn't just a nice-to-have virtue, it's basically your only shield?
So for 11 years, he was Malaysia's Auditor General. And this was a period that frankly shook the nation. We're talking about landmark investigations like the Port Klang Free Zone and, of course, the infamous 1MDB scandal. When billions of dollars were on the line, he was the last line of defense for the public's trust.
And that's a fascinating question, isn't it? When a person holds a position with that much responsibility, we often just see the title. We forget about the journey that got them there. And believe me, what a journey it was. This right here is the heart of the story. On one side, you have the nation's chief auditor, the person holding the most powerful people to account. And on the other, a boy from Kampung Baru in Kuala Lumpur, whose grandmother just hoped he'd get a steady job as a clerk. He wasn't just the first in his family to go to university. He was blazing a trail no one could have imagined.
See, his story wasn't one of privilege, not at all. It was one of pure perseverance. It all started in this small village right in the middle of the city. And it was built on discipline, a love for reading he discovered while he was the school librarian, and this just unshakable drive to serve his country.
So how in the world did he get from that small village to one of the highest offices in the land, while his entire 46-year career was in the PTD, that's Malaysia's elite administrative and diplomatic service? And his career path is just this stunning tour through the whole process of nation building. We're talking ministries, diplomacy, even managing a national mega project.
His career kicked off right here at the Ministry of Trade and Industry. This was just as the new economic policy was being rolled out. So as a young officer, he was thrown right into the deep end, involved in major legislation that would literally shape the country's entire economic future.
And then a total change of scenery. He moves to the Malaysian Timber Industry Board. And this is incredible. He was a key player in transforming rubber wood, which people used to think was worthless. They'd just burn it. He helped turn it into a multi-billion-dollar global furniture industry. I mean, talk about creating something from nothing. From there, his journey took him onto the world stage. As Minister for Economic Affairs in Tokyo, a major global hub, he was on the front lines of economic diplomacy. He was working to get these crucial low-interest loans that would go on to fund the next wave of Malaysia's massive infrastructure project. And one of those huge projects was the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA. He was actually pulled from his government post to help lead the team. Their job? To deliver one of the most ambitious airport projects in the world on an incredibly tight deadline, all for the 1998 Commonwealth Games. No pressure, right? So after a career this varied, this consequential, what do you learn? This is where the book really shifts from being just a history lesson. It becomes this masterclass in leadership, in crisis management, and in the raw, unfiltered realities of public service. I mean, the book puts you right there in the middle of the action. You'll find out what it was like to lead a search and rescue mission after the massive Kobe earthquake in Japan, or how his team handled the absolute chaos of the opening day of a brand new international airport. These are the kinds of lessons you just can't learn in a classroom.
And remember, his whole career happened inside the PTD, Malaysia's top-tier administrative and diplomatic service. So what this book gives you is this incredibly rare first-person peek into the actual machinery of government, how decisions really get made, how policies are put into practice, and what it actually takes to run a country day in and day out.
Look, this really isn't just a biography. It's an invitation to be in the room where history was happening, told by someone who actually had a seat at the table.
So why should you pick this up? Well, because you're going to get a view of history that you have never seen before. You're going to learn leadership lessons that weren't dreamed up in a classroom, they were forged in real-world crises. You'll finally get to peek behind the curtain and understand how government actually works. But honestly, most of all, you're going to be genuinely inspired by a life of unbelievable dedication to public service.
From AS for Assistant Secretary to AG for Auditor General. From a kid in Kampung Baru to a pivotal figure in modern Malaysia. His story really makes you think about some big questions. What does it truly take to build a nation? And what does it demand from the people who choose to serve it? The full story is waiting for you.